How's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be going over how to make a web scraping program in Go using the Go Kali framework. So if you haven't used Go Kali, you're in for a treat because it's a very simple, very easy to use, and very powerful framework. So let's go ahead and show you guys that. Alright guys, so we have a bare bones main.go file. Let's go ahead and show you guys Go Kali. Now, Go Kali is one of the fastest web scraping frameworks out there. You can even see it says lightning fast and elegant. And yeah, this is really great because you can use many domains and you can web scrape many things at once. But today's objective is actually going to be going to this website and looking over its endangered species. So I'm a good advocate for sustainable fishing and just keeping the oceans healthy. So the objective is just going through this website and going through all the species and finding the status, the year, the region, and the species name, and putting all that into a nice pretty JSON file so we can view it and maybe have a data set we can use for a data project. So that will be the main goal of this program. So without further ado, let's get Go Kali installed. So first up, you have to make a Go mod, and you can do that by just going to your program, doing Go mod init, and then just give it whatever module name you want. And then within here, you can go ahead and copy and paste this code, and then you can just put it in your Go mod. You can save it and run the Go mod download command, and then there you go. You have Go mod installed with all its sub dependencies as well. So yeah, you can do it that way, or you can actually go to dev.go, I believe, or I think it's go.dev. Go.dev, and you can go to the packages registry, and then you can go look up Kali, and then within the installation tab on the left side, you can run this command, and it'll get you the same results. But yeah, the Go registry, the Go package registry should be something you should be aware of. Just wanted to show that off. But yeah, let's go ahead and go into the program. So let's look at the website one more time, guys. We want to get the species name, the status, the year, and the region. So a good practical way to do this is to make a struct with these field names. So let's go ahead and make a struct called fish. And let's go ahead and give it species as a string, status property as a string, year property as a string, and then the region property as a string. Alright guys, and since we're going to be putting it in JSON, we have to give it struct tags, and struct tags determine how it's going to look into your JSON file. So let's go ahead and do that. You can do this by doing a tilde, and then go ahead and do JSON, colon, and give it the name you want. Let's just give it to status, and then year, and then region. And don't forget to space it out so it looks nice and neat. And alright guys, I think we're good. So next thing is to actually do the Go Kali. So we gotta import Kali into our file. So do your import statement and go into your Go mod and just go ahead and copy this right here. Copy and paste that, do double quotes and control V it, and don't save though, because it's just gonna go away if you save. That's a blessing and a curse when it comes to Go, that feature. So let's go ahead and make a function called WebScraper, and then this function is actually not going to return anything. This is going to be a void function. You can have it have parameters, you can implement it many ways, but this is a very simple program. So within the Go Kali GitHub repo, you can see a bare bones example of how to use Kali, and we're going to use this as a little bit of a way to structure our program. The first thing you got to do is make a Kali.newCollector object. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this and instantiate it into our function. Let's go ahead and just minimize everything so you guys can see better. Now in the GitHub repo, you actually don't see it, but you can actually give arguments inside of the new collector field. So let's go ahead and do enter, and you can see that we can make allowed domains property in here. and this is just going to determine what domains are allowed for the web scraper to visit. So we can just go ahead and do that, and inside of here we can just copy and paste the URL of the website that we're going to visit. So this right here. You actually don't have to include the HTTPS or the www. You can just get rid of that. However, you can actually put multiple domains, and they don't really have to be related. It could actually be like youtube.com, whatever. So yeah, you can actually put multiple domains here. Let's just go ahead and just copy this. I don't think we need that slash, but I just wanted to show this off because you can have multiple domains in this. So that's good. We have our new collector object going. Now let's go back to the GitHub repo, and you can see that we have an onHTML function that we have to call. Now, if you're coming from web development, this looks pretty familiar, I would say, right? Because it resembles an event listener, and that's pretty much what it is actually. So this executes once c.visit executes. So onHTML is gonna traverse the HTML page dependent on the c.visit argument, and then it's going to traverse that web page and find something specific from that web page, and you can specify whatever you want, and this callback function is going to do all the logic. So to not make you guys confused, let's go ahead and implement this. Let's go back to our endangered species, and then within our endangered species, let's inspect what we are working with, and let's go to this div right here. So this is the div that we're going to probably be using, since it has all of our fields that we want: the name, the status, the year, and the region. So let's go ahead and copy this class, and then within our program we can say c.onHTML, and now this is going to take the class or the HTML element that we want to specify. So we can say div.species directory. Alright, that's good. Now we can make our callback function, and within this callback function it's going to be working with the element that it finds. To make it more clear, let's make this element. Alright, that's good. And now guys, we're going to be using Go query. If you actually look at your Go mod, or the go.sum, which has all your pure dependencies, you can see that Go query is right here. Now, Go query is similar to jQuery, and it lets you find targets within your HTML. It gives you functionalities that you wouldn't have without Go query, like .find, .text, and it's very, very useful. So to have Go query, we have to make a Go query selection. So go to your element, which is this right here in your callback function, the parameter, and do .dom. And this is a Go query selection, and you want to give that value to a variable. So we can say species equal to element.dom, and now you have a Go query selector. So that's good. Now within here we can make our fish struct. So we can say fish is equal to fish, and we can say species, status, year, and then region. Alright guys, so now here we can use our Go query selector, and we can say species. Let's just make this a little neater, and we can use the find function. And then after the find function, actually let's first discuss the find function. So it's very similar to this argument right here. It actually, since this div right here has many fields that we want, right? We want to specify and just go dig deeper into this and get just the species. So let's go deeper and find just the species title. Okay, we're looking good. We have what we want, sorta. Okay, we look at the title name and bingo, that's what we want, the species name. So we go one more div into it, and we see that there's an anchor tag. Now the anchor tag, we can just get we want the text from it. We don't want this hyper reference. So the way we do that is pretty simple. We actually have to go copy this class name, and then we go ahead and go into find, and we say div, make sure it's in double quotes, div, and then we give it that div, and then after that we do the dot text, and any children within that element that is text, we're gonna find, and it's gonna return a string. So that's perfect, right? So now we can repeat this process with the status, the year, and the region. So let's go ahead and do that. I actually have it copied, so let's go, just to make the tutorial go by faster, we're gonna do that. So we can say species dot find, and this is cool though, we can actually chain the find command. So we can go into a div within another div, and then we can maybe go into a table or an anchor tag, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's good. We can go ahead and copy and paste for the year. It just has to be year. And then for the region. Alright, so we're good. Now fish is giving me an error here. It's saying declared but not used. So I forgot to do this, but on the top of your web scraper function, make a fishes a variable, and it's going to be a string of fish. And nice. Now at the end of your on HTML, we want to append fishes to fish. There we go. Alright guys, so this is pretty much all you need to do on your on HTML. The on HTML is simple. It just gets specific data from the HTML file, and that's all it really needs to do. So I think we're good. Let's go back to the repo. And now the repo shows you the on request, and now this isn't really needed, but it's nice to debug and show off what you're visiting. So this pretty much shows what you're visiting in your code. Yeah, okay, so FMT println had to be imported, so now it's imported. So this just pretty much, every time there's a GET request done, this is going to be printing out the URL that it's visiting the GET request, or what the GET request is doing the GET request on. Yeah, I gotta take a breath. I'm talking too much, guys, but that's it's not mandatory, it's optional. But this is actually mandatory. You have to visit a certain URL, and that's what we have to do. So in our case, we can't just plainly visit a URL since we're working with multiple pages, right guys? We have page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually have to do a little bit of URL manipulation. So if we go to page 2, we can actually copy and paste this code, and let me just put it in here so you guys can see it a little better. So it gives us a big fat URL. And within the parameters of the URL, you can see that page is equal to 2, right? Now this correlates to page is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty much if we can visit this page and manipulate what page we're visiting within like maybe a for loop, and we can just make this I or something like an iterator variable, then we can visit things within a for loop, and it's going to run the on HTML many times. So let's just go ahead and copy and paste this real quick. Oh, actually, we just delete it, and we can make a for loop. And we can, since the page starts off at 1, we have to make I is equal to 1. We can say I is less than or equal to 5, I plus plus, and then we can say c dot visit double quotes, and then we have to split up this page. So we have to say plus plus and I. Now the reason why it's giving me an error, guys, is because I is an integer. So we have to make this a string, and the way you do that is just using the string converts package. We can say integer to a string, and we can pass in I there, save, and then we should be good. And now we should be fine. Now we actually have to make a utility function to write this stuff into the JSON. So we can say write JSON, which we'll make shortly. We can say fishes, and now let's go ahead and make this function. So we say func write JSON, and it's going to take in data of fish. It's pretty much the same as this right here. So now we have to use the encoding JSON package. So now we have to do a file comma error is equal to JSON dot Marshall indent, and then this is just going to accept the data that we have from web scraping the website. It accepts a prefix, but we don't really want a prefix, so just leave that as an empty string. And then we can have an indentation. We want the indentation to be a space, so just give it a space. Let's error handle the error. Let's just log.fatal the error, and then we can return. And then finally, we can use the input-output utility package to write the file into our directory. So let's go ahead and just do, we're not going to use the variable, so we just do that, io-util.write file. And this is going to accept any file name that you want as a string. We're going to say endangered.json. It's going to accept the file, and then it's going to accept a file mode. Just trust me on this, it's 0644. I'm not sure if it varies on different types of files. I'm sure it does, but 0644 is the one for JSON. So yeah, I think we're good to go, guys. We can actually see this result now in our directory. So let's open up our directory. Let's go ahead and run this now. Let's do go run dot. And then you can see actually, let's open this up a little more. You can see thanks to our onRequest function, we can see all the pages that it visited, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then inside of our file, we have actually everything we need. However, it does look pretty ugly. Species looks fine. However, the status looks weird. It's got new lines, it's got year, it's got regions. Now, the way to fix this is using good old regex. So we can go ahead and use regex. Let's go ahead. It's actually probably one of the main core packages of Go. So let's go ahead and install that or import it. Regex P. And then to get rid of spaces, just say we're going to do a regex formula. So we're going to say regex P must compile, and I got the formula right here, so it's going to be this. Alright, so now within our onHTML, since species is fine, we don't have to touch that, but status we do have to touch. So we can say space dot replace all string. Let's just make sure I got this right. And then in here we can go ahead and copy species.find. We can just copy our Go query inside of here. And then within here we have to use the strings package, so strings dot, and here we're gonna say trim space. Alright, and then species is gonna be going inside of trim space as well. And then I think we still need something, yeah. Oh, we need to first save, so strings is imported. Make sure you have strings imported, it should be up here. For some reason it didn't import for me. Make sure that's spelled correctly. And now replace all string actually has two arguments. So within here, put a space, and then you should be fine. Now we can just go ahead and follow this formula for all the other things, and we should be fine. I actually have it copied, so let's go ahead and just copy it. Okay. And now we're good. So now with good old regex, let's go ahead and run this one more time. Alright, and if we look at here, everything's fixed, everything's nice and neat, and we have every data that we need. And it's pretty cool, right? We have how many entries? Well, that's a lot of entries. We got 630. So that's it for me, guys. That is how to make a web scraper in Golang. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys didn't get bored. I try to go as fast as possible. Next up is that we're making data visualization part 2, guys. So be tuned for that. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.